Okay, so I think we need to start a petition. Any horror director that wants to use a massive amount of jump scares in their film, you need to talk to Mike Flanagan first and figure out how to effectively do that, because there's like 10 to maybe 12 jump scares in here. Honestly, I probably got caught by all these jump scares. I've never been so affected by jump scares in a very long time. This dude is an absolute genius when it comes to not only the usage of jump scares in his stories, but just the effectiveness of just very gruesome, haunting imagery. And just Mike Flanagan, you fucking genius, you. Guys, this is going to be a rant, not even a review. This is going to be a rant on how amazing and awesome The Fall of the House of Usher is. Let's get into it. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is going to be my review, spoiler free of course, of the Fall of the House of Usher. I keep wanting to say the House of the Fall of Usher. I don't know why I keep getting those mixed up, but the Fall of the House of Usher, like I said, this is mainly going to be me just ranting about how absolutely astonished I was from beginning to end of this series. Like, I absolutely loved every second of this show. It completely blew me away. Just to give a little backstory, if you've never seen Mike Flanagan's horror anthology limited series, or just, series on Netflix, it started with the haunting of Hill House, and that show was easily one of my favorite Netflix shows to date. I love Haunting of Hill House so much. That's where I was introduced to Victoria Pedretti and fell in love with her ever since. And Carla Gugino just completely showed her acting chops in ways I've never even thought she could act before. Like, it started with Gerald's Game, where that movie just completely reinvented the idea of what this woman could pull off on screen. She was the mom in Spy Kids. Never in my life would I ever think the mom from Spy Kids could pull off such outrageously different characters. Just a complete 180. And each one, from Gerald's Game, I don't know if Gerald's Game is a part of Mike Flanagan stuff, but Gerald's Game to all of these haunting anthology series that she's done with Mike Flanagan, she's completely just shown an immense amount of range that I have just adored, literally ever. And she's completely killing it in this one here, The Fall of the House of Usher. She absolutely killed it, but I'm gonna get to her a little later. But like I said, if you ever seen the Haunting series, The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, which isn't as good, but it isn't as good as Hill House, but it's pretty decent. And then Midnight Mass, which is supremely underrated. Midnight Club, which I believe got canceled. And after that, I wasn't necessarily sure what we would hear from with Mike Flanagan next. And this was next up. And I think he was very upset that Midnight Club got canceled, because he absolutely put his all into this show, and it shows. Literally from the beginning, from the very first episode, I wasn't even maybe like 10 minutes in, and I was completely hooked. Like, this dude has a way with creating characters that you are just so interested in for whatever reason. You don't even know what's completely going on yet. You don't know who these people are, but for whatever reason, you are just so vaguely interested in not only the characters themselves, but the conversations. You get so focused in on what they're saying. You get so focused in on what's going on in the background. You get so focused in on whatever Mike Flanagan wants you to focus on, and then all of a sudden, a jump scare or something completely haunting happens that just completely freaks you out, and you're scarred. And oh god, I'm telling you, man, this show here completely blew me away. Like I said, Haunting of Hill House is one of my favorite Netflix series ever, and this one here is competing with that. Like, I'm really trying to hold on to my love for Hill House, but the more and more I think of The Fall of the House of Usher, the more I'm thinking it surpassed Hill House, but Hill House is still amazing. Look, guys, I'm going to start with my rant here. I'm just going to start with Mike Flanagan and his ridiculous masterclass of directing horror. Like I said, if you are a upcoming horror director, or if you're a horror director in general, and like I said, you want to use an immense amount of jump scares in your film, you got to talk to this guy first, because never ever have I seen jump scares be so effective repeatedly. It's like Mike Flanagan does such a great job in this show of making sure that he is guiding the audience to where he wants them to be. He's like, your eyes are on what he wants you to focus on, and then boom, he'll hit you with something completely just it's completely shocking. And the reason the jump scares are so effective in this show is because, like I said, you are so focused on what characters are saying. You are so focused on dialogue. You're so focused on, what's going on in the scene itself. Whenever the jump scare happens, it's a complete shock because you're completely forgetting, oh yeah, this is a horror show. Well, sometimes, I mean, for the most part, you're very much reminded that it is a horror series if you forget at any point in time. But when you're focusing on characters' dialogues, you completely forget, oh yeah, something's supposed to scare me at some point. And Mike Flanagan does a great job at guiding you to whenever you need to be scared. Like I said, when I first pressed play, and I believe the very first scene I'm watching is Roderick Usher and the cop. I don't know the cop's name off the top of my head. I think his name is August. I'm just very invested in what they're saying. I don't even know the family yet. I don't even know the characters, but like just how haunted this Roderick Usher guy is by wanting to tell this story to the cop in such a very, first of all, they're telling it he's telling the story in their childhood home. He's telling the story in like his home has been just run down. It's an old creaky crib, and he's just sitting there as if he lost his entire family at that point. We are introduced to that from the very beginning, and then from then on, the story is told in, I'd say, 3 different eras. So we are in the era of, post children's death, where he's explaining to the cop what happened to the kids. Then we are in pre-death, before the kids die, and we're in what's actually the main chunk of the story there. And then like pre-children, what happened when Roderick Usher and his sister Madeline were up and coming, and how we even got to what's going on. And I love the way that this story was told, because there are so many times where you feel like there are pieces just missing to the story. Like you're watching and you're kind of confused because you're like, okay, well, what's the correlation to this? What's the correlation to that? And Mike Flanagan is slowly just peeling back the layers of the story. One scene, one dialogue, one horror jump scare at a time. He is slowly just peeling back the layers to this heavy, gruesomely just enriching tale. Like it's ridiculous how much this guy really understands like what makes horror work and what makes things scare you. Like it's so much more than just jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. Even though I'm really praising the jump scares in this thing, it's like the haunting imagery in this show is ridiculous. And on top of that, the kills are just gross. It makes your stomach churn. A few of them definitely made my stomach churn. Honestly, a few of the kills, I can't get into detail about what happened to them, but one of them had my jaw on the floor. I was not expecting that to happen at all. And I'll say this, he's very good at building tension. He's very good at building very tense scenes where it's like you're not necessarily knowing what the heck's going on. And like I said, he's so good at revealing to the audience what he wants you to see when he needs you to see it. It's for an example, there's this one scene where Roderick Usher is telling the guy, he's like, yeah, my dead mother is behind you. And he's like, well, I'm not going to look. And he's like, okay, you don't have to. And then just in the background, you see someone moving. And it's like, you didn't even notice that until she moved. She was just blending into the background. I'm telling you, Mike Flanagan did such a great job directing this show. And on top of that, I can see why in all of his series he uses about the same cast. He doesn't really switch it up or use very diverse groups of people. No, he's using the same cast members over and over and over because these people really bring the best out of his stories. These people's the performances in this show are ridiculous. Let me go through the cast because I don't know everybody's name. Like I said, the one off the top of the list that I can praise immediately is Carla Gugino. Carla Gugino gave one of the best performances in a TV series all year. I hope she gets nominated for this, for an Emmy, because she deserves it. This woman absolutely delivered. When I tell you, the trailer for this show was good, but I had no idea that this thing was going to be this spectacular. Like, it was just going to absolutely exceed all my expectations. Like, I'm Hill House. Like I said, I hold Hill House to the top of Netflix horror anthology series, and I really didn't think something could ever compete with it because none of the other Mike Flanagan series for me came close to Hill House. Hill House was very up there, but this one just completely took the cake. I mean, first of all, the cast is phenomenal. You got Mark Hamill, Carla Gugino, Bruce Greenwood, the guy from iRobot, Willa Fitzgerald. She's the girl that played in the Scream series, one of the main characters, the main girl actually. She completely threw me for a loop in this show because I didn't think she had these kind of acting chops. She plays a completely different character than the one she plays in the Scream series, and here she is absolutely just killing it. She is playing the younger sister, Madeline Usher, and she's very driven, has a very bitchy attitude, but she's motivated. She wants to be able to step on the world. She wants all the power in the world, and Willa Fitzgerald did a great job as the young Madeline, as honestly setting the tone for the Madeline character. I really enjoyed watching the young Madeline. The older version of Madeline, she already looked very like mean regardless. Like she just looked like a very mean old lady. So I'm like, this lady didn't really have to do much to really sell me on that. But the young Madeline, just because I knew where she was from, I'm like, I think I need a little bit more. I think I need you to sell me a little bit more on this, but she absolutely killed it. She oversold it, if anything. She absolutely killed that performance. Everybody in this show killed their performance. Look, Kate Siegel, she's been in damn near I believe she's in almost every Mike Flanagan anthology series. She killed it. Who else we got here? Ruth Codd, she played Juno. She was okay. Mark Hamill. Dude, you're awesome. You're amazing. Mark Hamill just brings a whole nother dynamic to this show as Arthur Pym. I will never forget the character of Arthur Pym. He's like a very gruesome, dark version of Alfred. He's like their darker Alfred, and I absolutely loved his character. Carl Lumbly, who played August Dupin, he was the cop. Amazing actor. I could sit here the entire time and just praise this entire cast for what they've done. Literally, the entire cast did a phenomenal job. But I really just need to sit here and tell you guys that, look, if you love horror, if you love in-depth, enriching, gruesome storytelling, this is the show for you. This show has it all. This show, I mean, except it has comedic relief in a very dark way. It's dark comedic relief, but there's comedic relief there for sure. But look, to just sum this all up, guys, The Fall of the House of Usher is easily one of the best shows I've seen all year. I don't necessarily want to say it's the best show I've seen all year, only because Invincible Season 2 drops in a few weeks, and I know that's definitely going to compete with it, but this is by far the best show I've seen thus far this year. It's a show that completely floored me. It's one that is still with me even days after I've watched it. This is one that's not going to leave me for a while. I absolutely loved everything this show had to offer. And I really hope Mike Flanagan makes a lot more of these. I really hope he can just continue to just keep pushing these out, because as far as I'm concerned, he can, like, these are just, oh my God, these are some of the best anthology series you're going to find on a streaming network. I'm so serious. Look, Fall of the House of Usher is one of the best shows of the year, guys. Please go see it, or go see it. Like, you can't just go on Netflix and just turn it on. Go on Netflix and turn that shit on, guys, because I promise you will not regret it. It's one that is just going to completely stick with you, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But look, that's my rant/review on The Fall of the House of Usher. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and so much more, guys. I really do appreciate it. Look, this is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.